Hi, it's Gary Mintchell here. It's all about automation, and this is October the 16th. It's a beautiful, fantastic Saturday morning here at Chihuahua Park in Sydney, Ohio, and my last respite before I head off for another conference. To recap, my last video talked about the Emerson Exchange, and they had excellent turnout. They had over 2,300 total registrations, and as you all know, total registrations mean a total of all kinds of everybody that shows up, and that's it's all well and good. I guess I got company, but I scared them away. So anyway, typically they used to say 50-50, but I'm thinking it's more like 60% are users now. But anyway, it was a great turnout. It was a good time there. I should have been last week at Automation Week, which is the new ISA Expo. ISA Expo used to be one of the two top places to go. It used to be that I could go to National Manufacturing Week, I could go to ISA Expo, see everybody in the industry, see all the new products, see all the CEOs and everybody I needed to see. That stopped years and years and years ago, and almost since we started Automation World. So now ISA Expo has become Automation Week. As soon as we came out with Automation World, everybody changed all their names to Automation. I don't know. So anyway, Automation Week went from Expo to conference. So several things were going on. They were trying to consolidate a number of things, but unfortunately they didn't really consolidate a lot. In other words, they had two different hotels, I'm told. I didn't go. And the reason I didn't go, there were two. One, I was going to be on the road a lot. And that was just one more place to go, and I would have only had maybe 2 weeks of respite out of a total of 8 or 10 weeks, and that's just too much on the go. But then I wound up with an injury and didn't go much in September, but I couldn't. So, and it also looked like it was going to be pretty small. They say they had 100 exhibitors. They were down to tabletop exhibits. I was told feedback back that there were 3 announcements at the show from the exhibitors. They didn't, at first they acted like they didn't want press to come because ISA's leadership thinks that Intech is a competitor to Control and Automation World and all the rest of us. So then they said, well, you can come, but you're only allowed to go to the expo. You're only allowed to go to the expo on Tuesday. And by the time they got things done, then by the last week that they were really trying to drum up, they'd say, well, we'll promise you a free lunch if you'll come to the expo. Well, we like to go and meet people at the conference, too. We like to see who's doing what, get ideas, meet people that perhaps are interesting, and we could maybe get for articles and so on and get their stories. And so we like more than that, and it just felt like that press was a little bit of an afterthought anyway. 2 articles. There's been a lot of discussion over the last week about what happened in Automation Week, and Walt Boyes over at Control wrote an essay in which he was lambasting them for a failure. They had 200, he said, versus 8,000 last year. Ian Verhoeven, who also writes a column at Control, and I know both of these guys well. They're really ingrained in ISA, and his take was there were 1,500 people there, and it was a toss-up success. Good in some places, not so good in others. I guess the situation is that they probably had about 1,500 people, and that includes like everything. That's everybody, and that includes all the standards working groups they had meeting at another hotel, not at the hotel where the conference was. I am told there were around 240 registered paid attendees for the conference, and the reports I got back, and I've put out feelers and I've asked people, but nobody's really replied to me, or not much. And so what I hear is that there is a mixed bag at the conference. Some, just typical, some really stellar presentations, and some that, so-so. I would have liked to have seen who was there and whether they were vendor presentations or user presentations. And if they were vendor, what kind? Was it the president of the company who usually gives more of a marketing kind of talk, or some of the people like a couple weeks ago when I was at Emerson Exchange, and you meet people like Greg McMillan and Terry Blevins that are really highly technical people, and so that's pretty cool if you see them, even though they do work for a vendor. So yeah, I didn't have enough information to make that decision, so I didn't go. Next week, this is Saturday. Tomorrow morning, I have a 7 o'clock a.m. flight to Orlando, and I'll be heading to the Invensys Operations Management Ops Manage 2010 conference. And this is, if you remember, Invensys Operations Management is bringing together actually the old Invensys process systems, which brought together Foxborough, I'm going to forget one, Foxborough, Triconics, Simsci S-Core, and Avantis. And they brought in Eurotherm and they brought in Wonderware. And so therefore what they have now is this whole group within Invensys Corporation, or Invensys PLC really. So this will be the first IOM, Invensys Operations Management Conference. So it's a little hard to compare because it combines IPS and Wonderware, the old Wonderworld. However, I talked to Vice President of Marketing, Mark Davidson, this week about the conference, and registrations are running very well. They have over 1,000 registrations and a really good number of end users and partners who are kind of like customers too. Especially in the Wonderware ecosystem, they have a lot of partners that are integrators or other kinds of partners that integrate stuff. So they're very optimistic. It's very good. Be over 1,000 people. If you're one of them, stop me and say hi. I'm doing much better now. I can run away from you this week. I was hobbled pretty much a couple weeks ago, but I actually refereed a soccer game Thursday night, and I'm back up and running again. So that's good. So I'm looking forward to that. Kind of the key thing I'm looking for at IOM is they're continuing to build out and explain Infusion. There's been a lot of confusion about what Infusion is, and I talked to Mark a little bit about that, and I'll be writing a couple of pieces about it. But they look at Infusion as a system of systems, so it's built up by systems. It's not really a shrink wrap package. It's not really a product, so it's kind of hard to explain that way. But it encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses a direction they're going called Enterprise Control System, which means I take the ideas of controlling at a lower level and apply it at a bigger level to control my plant and my enterprise much better. So that's what we'll be looking at. I'll be looking at that. I'm going to be looking a couple of weeks ago, a couple of these videos ago, I made some mention about people leaving and coming and who looks like they're acquiring people. And Mark reprimanded me a little bit, and he said, hey, we've got 800 open requisitions for people we're trying to add. I forgot to ask the next question, which I'll be asking next week, and that's kind of like where and what type of people. So will they be, the suspicion within Invensys, if you read, stuff just on the web, that I find it, I don't really like to read too much, but I do a little. And it's kind of like, are these all like jobs in India, or what kind of jobs, and who are they? How are they morphing people? Or every big company churns people. People come, people go. So I'll be interested in all that, and more reporting on that later. Next Friday, I'll be doing a wrap up of the IOM Ops Manage Conference. A couple of weeks after that, I'll be in Orlando again, and the purpose for that will be the Rockwell Automation Process Systems Users Group, which has been growing also, which is very interesting, and the Automation Fair, which has been going on quite a few years now. My first one I went to was 1997, and I think they had a couple before that. So there's always more people come to Automation Fair than the typical automation trade show, and it'll be interesting to see how many people show up at Orlando in a couple of weeks. Orlando twice in a row. Can't knock that. My son lives in that area. I could go see my grandkids. Fantastic. So anyway, that's Travels with Gary right now. We're going around. A lot of interesting things going on. Looks like a pickup in the industry, pickup in the economy. People are more optimistic, so I hope that keeps going. And until then, Gary Mintchell from beautiful Toowawa Park, Sydney, Ohio, on October 16th. And have a good one.